Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Sharples and I'm the Programme Director for the MSc TESOL here at the University of Bristol. In this short presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our programme, what we teach and why we teach it, and what you can expect when you get here. I'd like to begin with a few words about our city. Bristol's a beautiful place to live. It's creative, dynamic, diverse and entrepreneurial. In fact, it's consistently rated one of the best places to live in the UK. We're about an hour and a half by train from London, so very close. And we're right at the doorstep of some really beautiful countryside. From the city centre, you could be out in the hills or out on the beach in maybe half an hour. So really accessible in your spare time while you're here. Your year on our Masters is divided into 3 parts. In the autumn term, starting in September when you join us, you'll study 3 core units. So everyone studies the same units together. The first looks at pedagogy and curriculum, how we teach, and how we organise teaching into larger sequences and units. The second looks at how languages are learned and acquired, and why that might be different. So at the end of those first 2 units, you've got a really solid foundation as a language educator. We'll also teach you research methods. Now, those are going to be invaluable for your dissertation, which we'll talk about in a moment. But they're also really important when you go back into the classroom because you learn not just to create research findings, but also to read them more critically and analytically. Those are skills that will go all the way through your career with you. In the second term, we teach one further core unit called Expanding Notions of Language, or ENL. This unit takes what we did in the first term and tries to push it a bit further. So we really challenge our thinking about what a language is itself, how it's used, what role it plays in our societies, and how that feeds back into our classroom practice. It's meant to expand our thinking about language in ways that will stimulate us not just in our first day back in the classroom after the Masters, but for years to come. So we look at, for example, how language is acquired and literacy skills develop in very early childhood. We look at language and the digital world. We look at language and the global economy, really just stretching the boundaries of our thinking about language. So at the end of your 4 core units, you've got that brilliant foundation for whatever you go on to do next. In the second term, you also begin to specialise by taking 2 optional units from the range that we offer. One of the things I love most about Bristol is that we're a close-knit, fairly small team. So our option units are taught and designed by us in our areas of expertise, the things we're passionate about. So when you come to option units, you can be sure that you're studying with someone who's actively involved in the field and really cares about what they're teaching. In the summer term, you'll start your dissertation. So that starts when you write a short proposal and we match you with a supervisor in your field of study. And then you have support as you develop your research skills even further and you produce your dissertation, which is a substantial piece of original research under the supervision of one of our staff. I like to think of the dissertation as your masterpiece. When you go into a job interview after your Masters, this is what you're talking about. They say, I'm a specialist in this. I'm an expert in this. This is what I can bring to you as an employee. So it really sets you up well for whatever you want to do next. You'll be doing fieldwork, you'll have academic language and literacy classes to help you with the writing. And we have a bespoke program just for TESOL students with classes that are tailored to your needs on the program. I mentioned your option units. Well, here are a few example ones. Now, our option units do change from year to year, so do check what's available when you apply, but these are very representative of what we offer. So we have both TESOL options and opportunities to take classes beyond the TESOL program in the School of Education. These are incredibly popular. So you'll see here that you have a wide range of opportunities to specialise, and these lead on then to your dissertation study. I'll talk next about what you do in a typical week. So here I've just tried to give a flavour of what your week might look like. We try and organise each unit on a separate day, so you've got time to focus on each class term by term. And you'll find a lot of what we do here at Bristol is really trying to give you a rich experience as you study, not just in what we teach, but in how we organise the structure of our classes, all the extracurricular things that we've developed, and so on. So we work with study groups a lot. In the first week you're with us, you'll be organised into groups, and you'll stay with those groups all the year through. Now, we don't do group assessment in that sense. We don't ask you to produce projects and be assessed for each other. Study groups are unassessed, and they're really, really valuable because that's your closest peer group. You'll develop pre-class work, you'll do the reading together, you'll generate ideas together, you'll clarify understanding together, you'll sometimes have tutorials together. And of course, you can change if you need to. But as we've made more and more use of peer study groups, the feedback has been that they are one of the best things on the program. It's a group of people that really understand what you're working on and that you become really close friends with as well. You'll actually probably meet your study group or communicate with them most days, but you might have a couple of days that are just for self-study and then a class on each of the other days. You'll be doing guided reading, you'll be working with a study group, you'll be preparing assignments, presentations, you'll be going to tutorials, you'll be meeting your personal tutor, who, if you like, is a more pastoral role. And all of us here on the programme are personal tutors as well as lecturers. We have an incredibly rich range of academic seminars to participate in as well. We have the tailored academic language and literacy programme that I mentioned. We also have other opportunities. For example, we've partnered with a local provider to offer a really good CELTA programme. That's the Cambridge Certificate in English Language Teaching to Adults. Now, that's a separate programme with its own fee and entry requirements, but it's one that a lot of our students find really enriches the programme. We're always looking for opportunities to extend this. Early on in the programme, you will be asked to vote for a programme representative, and the programme rep and an informal group of other students that we call our social committee are responsible for making sure that your voice is heard with the staff. So we'll find that all the way through there's opportunities to develop your interests and things that you care about in the programme. The entry requirements are really important. So we ask that you have a good undergraduate honours degree and be able to demonstrate some experience. So depending on what your first degree is, we'll ask for normally 6 or 12 months experience before you come here. That can be full or part-time, and we're really aware that with the pandemic in the past few years, people's opportunities to gain experience have been different. So take the time when you apply, tell us about your experience, particularly in your CV. Tell us what you've been doing and what you're interested in. We'd really like to hear that. If English isn't your first language, you'll have to have an IELTS score of 7 with no scores below 6.5. And that's a university requirement. Okay. So a little bit of a recap. Why would you choose our programme here at the School of Education in Bristol? Well, our students are all professionals in the field of English language education, but it's an incredibly diverse range. We have people who teach very early years right up to university, who teach adult migrants through to university students and all points in between. We have a really well-established language education programme, TESOL programme here at Bristol. A scholarly community really around language and education that stretches back many, many years. So you're joining something that's really well established in a really highly ranked university. And I think for a lot of students who look at the rankings, it can be quite difficult to distinguish this university's here, this university's there, what's the difference between them? And I think for me, the difference is the culture of the place. Can you see yourself in our community? Can you see yourself working with us, developing your passions, your interests, really getting not just a degree, but the kind of professional formation and development that will see you through, the next big phase of your career? I hope you can when you come here. We are always looking for opportunities to extend our programme, and we've got a thriving alumni community. So a lot of our graduates go on to doctoral study in the UK and overseas, and we're always especially proud when people choose to stay at Bristol for their doctoral studies, and many do. But lots of people go on to teaching roles, to policy roles, to materials development roles, and so on. We're always interested in using our network and our experience as well to support your career aspirations. I think the most important thing for me to finish on is just to say, please keep in touch. We would be really excited to hear from you. There's the generic university email address there, and that's great for any kind of application queries. But if you've got a more personal question about how you might be part of our TESOL community when you get here, you're very welcome to drop me a line directly. I'm very Googleable. You can find me at Robert Sharples at the University of Bristol. My email address is just robert.sharples@bristol.ac.uk. So if you want to know questions about the program itself and what it would be like to study here, I'd be really pleased to hear from you. If you've got questions about the application process and so on, do get in touch with the postgraduate team at the email there. So that's a little bit about our program, what it's like to be here, what we'll study. I really hope you'll consider Bristol. I'm really proud to work here. I think it's a fantastic program and a great team. And I hope you'll be one of us in September. All the best.